Thanks for joining me again as we look back at another great classic film. This is a faithful adaptation of a successful Broadway musical which avoided replicating the stage production, instead giving it a more cinematic feel. It retained the vast majority of its original stage cast, but did install a genuine star in the lead role. It has a number of good recognisable musical numbers, and pulls off what is unusual subject matter for a musical. It is The Pajama Game from 1955. The script was adapted from the 1954 stage musical of the same name, which Richard Bissell had adapted from 7.5 Cents, his 1953 novel about industrial relations in the garment industry. The central conflict is built around the workers wanting a 7.5 cent rise to their hourly rate and their willingness to go on strike to get it. In 1954, the average government worker made about $1.25 an hour, so this was a demand for a 6% raise. The original Broadway production ran for 1,063 performances and won the 1955 Tony Award for Best Musical. Jack Warner optioned the film rights, teaming stage director George Abbott and film director Stanley Donen to ensure a film that was faithful to the stage show but also cinematic. Warner was willing to attach the original cast as long as one of the leading roles was played by a bankable movie star. After seeing Marlon Brando in Guys and Dolls, George Abbott had wanted him to star, but after a very trying experience making a musical, Brando was convinced he couldn't sing and wasn't interested. Frank Sinatra was initially cast as Sid, but when he pulled out, John Raitt retained his stage role, meaning Janice Page had to make way for the star Doris Day. The rest of the cast were drawn from the original Broadway production, with the exception of Barbara Nichols as Poopsie, Jack Straw as Prez, and Kenneth Leroy, who took over Peter Gennaro's dance role after he committed to choreographing the new Broadway production of West Side Story. Like any good musical, it has a number of highly recognisable songs, including Hey There, Once a Day Year, Steam Heat, and Hernando's Hideaway, which lifted the movie's original soundtrack to 9th on the Billboard charts in 1957. A song written specifically for Doris Day, the man who invented love, was ultimately deleted in favour of the better-known Hey There. Despite being a faithful rendition of the stage show, the film also deleted 6 numbers from the Broadway production. A New Town is a Blue Town, Her Is, Think of the Time I Save, Sleep Time, Jealousy Ballet, and The World Around Us. The film marked Doris Day's return to Warner Brothers, where her film career had begun and where she had been a contract player for 7 years. As one of only 4 cast members who hadn't appeared in the Broadway production, she found it challenging to fall into the groove of a company that had been playing the show for more than 1,000 performances. She described it as trying to find her place in a well-oiled machine. Bob Fosse, director of Cabaret and numerous Broadway shows, choreographed both the movie and the stage production. John Raitt had a dashing and muscular look and possessed a remarkable high baritone voice, but his wooden acting and total lack of screen presence meant this was his only starring film, following many uncredited roles in the 1940s and subsequent TV roles in the 1950s. Honest release Bosley Crowther of the New York Times compared the film favourably to the Broadway stage version, calling it as good as it was on stage, and in certain respects, such as When They All Go on the Factory Picnic, even more lively. It's included amongst the AFI's top 100 greatest movie musicals and is recognised by the BFI as one of the top 20 musicals of the 1950s. In 1992, Warner Brothers secured the rights to The Pajama Game with plans for John Hughes to write, direct and produce, but it didn't eventuate. Lots of good reasons to watch this film. It has great sets, which are a good backdrop to a number of excellent musical numbers. The tight, experienced cast put in slick performances, which ably support Doris Day and are a joy to watch. It's among the best musicals of the 1950s, which was a peak period for the genre. So, what I suggest you do is that you go to our website, find our virtual screenings page, find the link to this particular film, click on it and watch it, and as always, we invite you to come back, let us know your thoughts about the film, and whether you recommend it for others as well. And then we're back in the not too distant future for our next classic films review. Catch you next time.